Well, hello, everybody. My name is Liesl Fenner. I'm the Public Art Program Director at the Maryland State Arts Council, and I'm joined today with Rosa Chang, our Special Projects Coordinator. And this is the Public Art Across Maryland office hours that we're holding monthly up until the January 26th PAAM grant deadline. At each of these office hours, we're focusing the first 20 minutes on a topic. And so we'll be recording that session on budgets and schedules today. Our last month's office hours were focused on artist selection processes. So if you are in the process of selecting an artist, do go back to our recording, which is on the public art section of our website. So let's jump in. In case you're not familiar with Google Meet, it's pretty straightforward. The unmute button is on the bottom towards the left. And if you want to insert a chat, the little message bubble is down on the lower right. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, and if care to, your pronouns, and let us know what grant you think you'll be applying for. That can give us an idea of the questions we might be getting today. So at every public meeting, we present our grounding slides, and so we start off with our land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge the lands and waters, now known as Maryland, are the home of its first peoples, the Accohannock Indian tribe, Assateague Peoples Tribe, Cedarville Band of Piscataway Indians, Chuptico Band of Indians, Lenape Tribe, Nanticoke Tribe, Nassau-Wawash Band of Indians, Piscataway Kano Tribe, Piscataway Indian Nation, Pocomoke Indian Nation, Susquehannock Indians, Youghiogheny River Band of Shawnee, and tribes in the Chesapeake watershed who have seemingly vanished since the coming of colonialism. We acknowledge that this land is now home to other tribal peoples living here in diaspora. We acknowledge the forced removal of many from the lands and waterways that nurtured them as kin. We acknowledge the degradation that continues to be wrought on the land and waters in pursuit of resources. We acknowledge the right of the land and waterways to heal so that they can continue to provide food and medicine for all. We acknowledge that it is our collective obligation to pursue policies and practices that respect the land and waters so that our reciprocal relationship with them can be fully restored. And there's more information on our land acknowledgement project on our website. Our equity and justice statement. The arts celebrate our state's diversity, connect our shared humanity, and transform individuals and communities. MSAC and its supporting collaborators are committed to advancing and modeling equity, diversity, accessibility, and inclusion in all aspects of our organizations and across communities of our state. MSAC and its grantees are committed to embracing equity and non-discrimination, regardless of race, religious creed, color, age, gender expression, sexual orientation, class, language, and/or ability. And our vision, MSAC plays an essential role ensuring every person has access to the transformative power of the arts. And our mission, MSAC advances the arts in our state by providing leadership that champions creative expression, diverse programming, equitable access, lifelong learning, and the arts as a celebrated contributor to the quality of life for all the people of Maryland. And briefly, our goals are to increase participation, provide intentional support, build capacity, leverage connections, and bolster Maryland arts. So today we put forth these creative meeting actions, and we'll celebrate being in the space with other creative people, engage with everyone's presence as a gift, acknowledge that together we know a lot, enter the conversation with curiosity and inquiry, share your idea and trust that it will be heard. Use I statements. Focus your language on the task at hand. Hold one another accountable with care. Apply yes and. I hear your idea and I'm going to add to it. And balance speaking and listening. So let's jump on in. Today's agenda, we're going to, as I mentioned, talk about budgets. And we're going to make this a little interactive, and then we're going to create a schedule. These are required for all of our grants, new artworks or conservation, and both planning or project grants for either of those areas. And then, as I mentioned, we'll stop the recording and we'll open it up for your questions. Tell us about your project. All right. So you have an idea. We want to hear about it. And we have on our website here, this is what it looks like when you log into the public art page. The recordings, as I mentioned, if you scroll further down, you'll see the links to the recordings. You can also register for our future office hours in December and January. The guidelines, be sure to click on that link and read the guidelines before you start your application. And to apply, you just click that apply here. It will take you to the Smart Simple online software where you will create an account and start your application. So let's jump in and start making a budget. Here are just a few of what types of budget expenses are part of a project grant, particularly for new artworks grants. Obviously, we are going to be paying our artists. They have an artist fee. There might be additional contracted services. Perhaps a general contractor needs to be hired or a project manager. There's the artwork installation, getting it to the site where it's going to be. Obviously, the purchasing of the materials and the fabrication of the work. And there can also be miscellaneous expenses. So we're also going to look at income. We have to balance that with the grants or in-kind services that you're applying for. MSAC might be your only grant source, but we have options in our Smart Simple application for listing all of these. And I'm going to take you through it step by step. All right, so we're going to apply for a new artworks project grant. And we have the idea for a mural. It's going to be 10 feet long and 8 feet high. It's a bit of a small mural, but we'll start small. And our artist budget is about $10,000. So let's check out this example. And I'm going to switch screen. And so this is what it looks like when you're creating a budget in Smart Simple. For those of you who've applied in previous years, you used to upload an Excel document. This is a new format. You're going to do it directly in our software. And it's very easy to start. You just start under this category of expenses and the artist fees. And so I can't actually show you this pull down menu, but when you do click it, it gives you selections like the artist fee. And this is for project grant. So it's already designed. The mural is designed. And so we need the artist to actually create the work. So somebody throw out what might the artist fee be? Let's kind of make this interactive. Feel free to unmute and give me a fee. All right. Well, I'm going to put in that $10,000. And so we go further down to contracted services. And again, I add a line and I look at the selection. I'm sorry you can't see this, but let's say we need to also have some artist assistance. We need some help on the actual painting of the mural. And so I'm going to add in the amount, let's say $2,000. And we might even add some detail like community members. That's the space for you to just communicate a little more detail about that particular expense item. Going to scroll down. Now here for the artwork installation, it's a mural, so it's just directly there on the wall. If you had a sculpture, there would be an expense for actually attaching it to the ground or whatever type of pedestal is being implemented for that project. So we'll just ignore that one. How about artwork material supplies? I'm going to just start adding some. How about the paint? Anyone want to throw out what a paint expense might be? And you feel free to put it in the chat.
$1,500.
Okay, let's do that. Excellent. All right, and we've got options for miscellaneous because we obviously know there's going to be something specific to your project that we haven't covered. We do have some options, and so we always want to remember that we'd like a plaque on that final artwork. It's important to recognize the artist, to include the title, any other people involved, and of course your funders. So don't forget to mention your funders. I'll just throw out maybe the plaque is about $500, and there's places to order online your plaque or to go to a local sign company. Perhaps, you can get some volunteer help. Perhaps there's a contractor who's going to help prep the wall. And so I'll just add whatever that in-kind service might be. Prep wall. And they have given you an estimate of their time and labor is $2,500. So that's your income. And then, of course, you're applying for the MSAC grant, so you need to list us. And so I am just selecting there the fact that you're applying for the PAAM grant, and perhaps you're requesting the full amount, $30,000. I realize that this is now going over our income of, we can only award $30,000. So I'm sorry, it has not gone over our income, that our expenses are still under what we're applying for. So obviously you're going to have a lot more detail, a lot more purchases in what it takes to create a mural. But I did want to just share this example. And let me go back to the other page of our presentation. All right. So let me just show you. Here we've got some filled out examples. These slides will be online, and these are not necessarily for you to copy and paste into your application, but they might be, used as a guide if you are creating a mural. Here again, we're listing all those artwork supplies that go into creating a mural. You do the same for any other type of media or work that you're creating in your community. Don't forget that you've got lots of expenses for the installation itself. This mural the example was only 8 feet high, but if you've got a 2-story mural, you're definitely going to need some scaffolding or a lift. So all of this has to be thought through when you're preparing your budget in Smart Simple. And again, those little miscellaneous items, when you have your dedication and celebration, we've got, we've got food and drinks for people. And so then we go to this readout of the suggested expenses here listed. Wherever you're installing or doing an artwork, it's probably good to get insurance to protect yourself while on site. If you're doing a work on on public property, they might require you to get a permit. You'll have to look into that before you apply and check with your insurance broker on what that would cover, how much that expense would be. Always be sure to add a contingency in your budget. Typically that's 10 to 15%. And the contingency is for unexpected expenses that come up in the installation process. Perhaps the price of paint went up between the time you submitted your grant and the time you learn that you get the award, and then you're going out to actually purchase paint. That extra amount that you've allocated is the just in case budget. If you don't end up spending the contingency, yay, you get to pay yourself and your assistants, and perhaps the organization takes a little extra administration money, and you can pay yourselves for all that hard work that took to create the piece. All right. So we definitely encourage you to look at additional sources of income. Perhaps it's from your locality, your local arts council. We certainly don't say that you have to stop at a $30,000 project budget just because that's what we award. There are lots of communities doing very large scale projects. And we hope that you can find some other sources of support to realize the project. And this is where you list those in-kind donations and funding sources as well. All right. So let's jump into creating a schedule. And this is showing a recently installed work that was just created at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. So here's some examples of the possible categories that would be included on your schedule, including time for the community engagement. Take time for the contract, for the artist to be contracted. There might be some additional final design that's needed, and that coordination. Taking the time to make sure you can get those materials. Perhaps they have to be ordered and delivered. There's a period for that you should include. Perhaps, again, the site needs to be prepared. Your mural, the wall is probably not ready to go. And so account for that prep. And then there's the actual creation and fabrication. And so the artist should be communicating with the organization that they're working with, how long realistically that's going to take, including if the, for example, a mural is being painted in the summer, counting for rain days. Again, if you're doing installation, that artwork has to travel to the site, or maybe it has to go in storage for a little while before it actually gets installed. Don't forget the cleanup, your plaque installation, and then be sure to celebrate and have a dedication and give us a call so that we can join you in that celebration. So we have another example. I want to note that your activities in your schedule, if there's any activities being supported by the MSAC grant, it can't start until you actually hear that you've gotten the grant. So your schedules shouldn't actually start until March 26, 2024. It's approximately 8 weeks after you apply. Our deadline is January 26th. When you get notified, there's still another 6 to 8 weeks before you get the check. So if you need that cash in hand to actually start purchasing artwork materials, you need to account for waiting and getting that cash. If you're an organization and perhaps you can front the money to the contracted artist, that is acceptable. But we just put these out as a guideline because folks are often calling us wondering, where's that money? We're ready to start. All right, let me open up the example again in Smart Simple, and I'll change to this view. It didn't go. It's not showing it. Okay, well, all right, we're not going to show that, but I do have a schedule here. So again, these are in the Smart Simple application. You will have options in the pull down menus for both activities and tasks. Here, we're outlining suggested periods of what it might be for your project. Again, you create this schedule with the artist and with the other partners involved in the project. Again, account for that artwork contracting period. There might be a little back and forth. Making sure that, you know, the design that you've proposed is actually like, this is it. This is what we're going to paint on that mural. Accounting for that site preparation, as we mentioned, ordering the materials, making sure they come in. And then you're going out and giving yourself a full month to actually paint that mural. It's August. There's going to be rainy days where you can't go out on site. Be sure to order that plaque and have time to install it. And don't forget to celebrate. All right. So thank you for our little topic there that we dove into for budgets and schedules, but we are taking any questions today. And so feel free to use the raise hand feature down at the bottom, the little palm, and or you can type your question into the chat, but let's open it up and let us know what you're applying for. And let me know if you had specific questions on any of those budget or schedule items that I just plowed through. Oh, Rosa, can you stop the recording? Sweet.